Shazam! Yes, I just finished watching the movie Shazam from 2019. And growing up, I'm a huge, DC, Marvel comic book guy. I used to draw comic books and stuff like that. So growing up, when I read about Captain Marvel here in this 2005 DC Universe encyclopedia, I came across this page of a guy named Captain Marvel. And it was a huge page. When you're somebody of importance, you had a giant page in this book. And Captain Marvel had one of the pages, and I was like, interesting. And this dude can do all the things all the other Justice Leaguers could do. The only thing was, he was a 14-year-old kid. And then after read the book, Batman and Superman team up versus, I think it's called Public Enemy. Batman and Superman Public Enemy, where Superman has to fight Captain Marvel. And then you get Justice League Unlimited where Superman fights Captain Marvel. And I'm like, oh man, this dude's really cool. So to finally see him on the big screen, it was like, oh, Shazam is here. When his name changed, I was like, that kept throwing me off because he's Captain Marvel. But then you have Marvel has a Captain Marvel, which there's a whole name, copyright, trademark thing that happened back in the, and I'm not sure what year, but just the 20th century, let's put it that way. This is the 21st century, that was the 20th century, and they got the rights back. Anyway, it's a mess with that. So anyway, Captain Marvel is now Shazam, and then Captain Marvel and Marvel is Captain Marvel, or Captain Marvel, but it's Captain Marvel now, who was also, was it Warbird her name? I don't think it was Warbird. Anyway, I'm getting all out of place here. Let's get back to the review. But yeah, I just watched him on the big screen, and I'm like, oh man, this is pretty good. It's a hilarious movie. It's funny. It has action in it. But then there's some parts where like the CGI just like, So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. Captain Marvel. Oh wait, sorry. Shazam 2019. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Ali Zakka. And what is Movie Breakdowns? A movie review series. We're looking at new and old movies, give them a grade A through F, plus and minuses do count. And there's a movie you want me to review? Put in the comment section below. I might get to it, who knows? Also, I have a Patreon. Now on this Patreon, you pay to get extra content such as first thoughts on movies. You get movie reviews for they come out on Facebook and Instagram. You get trailer reaction, trailer reviews, and you also get first come, first serve. So the movie you want me to review, you put it in the comment section on Patreon. I hop on it, get on it immediately because you're paying for my services. That's how business works. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's review of Shazam 2019. This movie to me is such a different tone than Batman vs. Superman, than Man of Steel. Like, they figured out somewhere around the line, the DC figured out somewhere around the line, like, hey, you know what? We try to be the serious, dark tone because our comic books are more serious and dark than Marvel. It's not really working out, not really connecting with our fans. Let's go the route that Marvel's going. Let's go with a little action and comedy. They did it with Aquaman. With Aquaman to me, I love that movie. It was great. And they did it with Shazam. And there's times where like something serious is happening in the movie, but I couldn't take it seriously because it's always a joke or maybe something that would happen. The characters would act a certain way, and it's like, oh, this is definitely a comedy, even though it's a serious stuff going on here. Now, I do love the storyline. You know, I'm a sucker for a good storyline. This storyline in this movie, I feel like is done right. There's no loose ends. You're not questioning what's going on. If something was put into the movie at the beginning of the movie, you get closure behind it. You get closure of a lot of things in this movie. The one thing that did pop out to me was like, why are the bullies bullying a disabled kid and everybody else is just watching this? Like, that's the one thing I was like, that doesn't add up. But everything else does in this movie, like everything. I thought the movie was gonna open up with us seeing Billy Batson, like, you know, living his life, and then it comes out to be like, oh, he's Shazam kind of thing. No, it actually opens up with Theo, who is a kid who kind of gets bullied by his dad and his older brother, and Shazam is trying to find somebody to give his powers to because his powers are weakening. Let's go and get into review. Let's go and get to what the movie's about. And he gets brought into the lair or the temple of, I don't know what the name of it, like, where Shazam, the wizard, the elder wizard, where he's like the last one of his family, where he's sitting there protecting the world from the 7 deadly sins, and he is weakening. His powers are weakening. He's trying to find somebody to pass his powers on to. And he meets Theo, but Theo wasn't strong enough because Theo wanted the power of the 7 deadly sins, and the wizard's like, nah man, get out of my place. And that's how the movie opens up. You're like, oh, okay, we already get out the villain right out the bat, which we didn't know was the villain. I didn't know it was the villain at first. I was just like, okay, this kid who wants to get back to where he was, get this power, but this is where we start off with. I didn't know who the kid was. And the movie quickly reveals that towards like within the first 40 minutes. So you figure out who that is. And then you get cut to Billy. And Billy is pretty much pulling a prank on the cops. And you're like, oh no, this is another bad kid. I know he's a foster kid because in the comic books he is. I was like, another bad kid here. And he's using the cop, like he's gonna steal the cop car and drive off. And like he's that kid in every movie, superhero trope movies, that the bad kid, but then he gets a sense of power and responsibility kind of thing. This is not like that at all. Billy is trying to find his mom. He got separated from her when he was 6. He was really young. Forgot what age it was. The movie says it was. Said when he got separated. 5, 6, 7, around that age. But he gets separated from his mother, who's a single mother. And his goal is to find her. So he's doing detective work. He's using like cops, databases to find her, and he figure out who she is, and he keeps getting put in different foster homes. And every time he leaves a foster home, when he think he has the moment to find his mom, he'll leave and then try to go figure out who it is, and then come find out it's not her and cross it off, and he keeps getting put in another foster home. Well, he gets taken to this foster home with these 2 new parents who also has a house of other foster kids, 6 other kids, no, 5 other kids, and he's still on his path to finding his mother, but at the same time he's kind of forced to get along with these kids and be a part of the family, which he doesn't really want to. And then one day the bullies show up out of nowhere, hit hit Freddy. Freddy is the superhero fanatic. This kid knows everything about superheroes, Batman, Superman, Aquaman, all these guys. He knows all their stuff, and he figured out like he loves superheroes because for him superheroes is like escapism. It's something for him to escape his life, for him to be noticed. And he feels like when Billy gets this power that he doesn't deserve it. But yet he's helping him how to like use his powers and how to figure out what he is. Now, how does Billy get his powers? Freddy gets attacked by these bullies. Billy stands up to him, runs away, runs to the subway, and the subway takes him to the wizard's place, Shazam's place. And Shazam, who's pretty much desperate because Theo has found the lair, took the 7 deadly sins and ran with it. But instead of just attacking Shazam and taking the wand, but he didn't know about it. Actually, I do like how that movie sets that up because he didn't know about it. How he figures out that the wand he needed to get the staff to get the power of Shazam was by the 7 deadly sins. After he left, he's like, no, you need to go back and get that because Shazam had gave his power to somebody else. And Shazam just gave his power to the first person that he met. He's like, take my staff, say my name. You're a good person, say my name. And I'm watching thinking, how did he know that? Hold on, that makes no sense. Why would he? Okay, and it's almost like out of being desperate, like he wanted somebody to take his power so bad that he was like, you're the first person that showed up here. Which I don't know what triggers you to go to Shazam's place, or what triggers for him to like send you his invitation to try his powers. I don't know what it does, but it took Billy there, and Billy was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. He said, take my staff. Okay, cool. Say my name. Shazam. And now he turned into this giant man with all these powers of the gods. And I was like, but Billy, besides that one point of him he saved Freddy, he's been a dick to Freddy. He's been a dick to everybody in the family. He's not not opening up, and nobody get attached to him. and then he, you know, runs away. He's kind of not a good kid, but yet he got the power of Shazam for one good deed he did. Alright, rolling with it. Also another thing, because when Theo visited there the first time, early in the movie, there's a worm that's trapped inside like this case. And when I saw the worm, I was like, I'm not really a big like Marvel lore kind of, not Marvel, sorry, DC lore kind of guy. I guess Captain Marvel lore, Shazam lore kind of guy. But I recognized the insect, and I was like, that caterpillar or worm is something in the DC universe. I don't know what that is. I had to Google it, couldn't find out it was Mr. Mind, which I was like, yo, this guy is in this movie. Hold on. And on top of that, he's actually one of the characters in the after credit scenes in this movie. So I was like, yo, this dude's a villain and he's in this movie. I like that little touch of details there of placing the villain in the movie that you see. And a lot of movies does it. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 did it when Green Goblin is walking through the like basement and trying to find the glider, and he like Dr. Octopus, a bunch of other stuff is like their weapons are hanging around. So there's nothing new. I really like when movies does that though, kind of get you a setup to something. But anyway, Billy found out that he now has his power, doesn't know how to turn back, and he runs into Freddy. He shows up at the house like and tells Freddy not to scream, and he has a sign he does. He says it to the window like don't scream, and Freddy does scream. But I just thought it was hilarious. And this movie's a comedy too. It's action comedy. So there's jokes in the movie that you'll laugh at and stuff that will happen. You're like, should that be funny? Should it not be funny? I don't know. But I'm laughing anyway. So Freddy and Billy are working throughout the majority of this movie to figure out where Billy's powers. They do super flight, they do super speed, they do super strength, all the other things. And one thing I do like how they revealed it was they were trying to figure this out, couldn't figure it out, and they see somebody getting robbed. And they see this lady getting robbed. Billy speeds over there to her and the guy. Come find out the guy was screaming was making this high-pitched scream, and Billy's like, oh, you're not in trouble? She's like, no, I just pepper sprayed him. And then he grabs the guy, flicks the guy by mistake, and then she's like, just take my money, here you go. So Billy's now being like the superhero, using his powers to make money and take pictures and make money, stuff like that. Also, there's a scene where he uses his powers to buy alcohol. It cracked me up so much. And him and Freddy try it, and it's like, this is disgusting, it tastes like vomit. And they go back and get junk food. But in that same scene, the store gets robbed, and Billy and Freddy is like, dude, you just got shot. You're bulletproof. Try the face. If I had superpowers, I would be like, no, don't shoot me in the face. Like, he had no idea his power was super healing. Why would you shoot him in the face? But they did, and the criminal's like, okay, we'll do it, why not? Billy actually gives a gun back to one of the robbers, and they shoot him in the face, and he's like, it kind of tickles. I was like, you know what? I feel like it's something a normal person would do. They had superpowers. They would try to figure out how to use their powers and do experiments and stuff like that, and they react in a certain way. Like, let me go do normal stuff as a superhero, because why not? But Billy also gets rid of, like, throw the robber, tie him up, and throw him out the store, and he run away. They didn't turn him in, which I'm like, you should probably turn those guys in. But okay, we'll roll with it. And then halfway through the movie, you get the scene where Billy and Freddy have their argument, have their beef with one another, because Freddy just completely forget to ask Billy. He has just spewing out words and tells that, oh, Captain Marvel will be here to show up at my lunch with me the next day, and doesn't say anything, while Billy's like, I don't want to be a part of this, you didn't ask me, and he jets out. Like, he goes out a whole day trying to make money and uses his powers for bad. Well, not for bad, but for just selfish reasons. And he actually runs to Mary, and she talks a little more to him about like family and stuff like that, and he's like, well, you should be about yourself, be alone kind of thing. You know, you don't need family. Family is not important. Think about number one. And there's like this talk they have there, and she's like, how do you know who I am? And he's like, yeah. Jets off. But there's a point in this movie where Billy and Freddy have another argument, and Billy using his powers and strucks down a bus. Goes rescue the bus, and that's when Theo shows up and pretty much attacks Billy. And they have a little fight scene where Billy learns how to fly, and he's like, or he learns how to float, and that's a fun scene. And they keep fighting stuff like that, but then he escapes in the mall. Well, while he's escaping this mall, Theo runs across Freddy, who's also somehow ended up in the mall too, and was like, Billy, where are you? He kidnapped Freddy, goes back to Freddy's place. Do want to mention while Billy and Theo is having their moment, or not Theo, Billy and Freddy having their moment, Theo kills his father, kills his older brother, and it's really, to me, it was bad CGI. So there's the 7 deadly sins are monsters in this movie. And the CGI, which movie came out in 2019, looked like a 2012, 2011 CGI. Like this CGI looks like it could have been a part of Harry Potter. I kid you not. And I couldn't get my eyes from like seeing it. Like I would see the monsters attack people or they interact with people, and the CGI just looked really bad. But when it came to like superhero CGI versus Theo versus Shazam, and they're fighting throughout the city, the CGI looks really good. But when it came to them fighting, like the monsters attacking people, it looked off. I don't know why. Maybe it didn't look right. Something about the CGI just didn't look right with the monsters. I don't know where budget was less there or where something just did not seem right. I don't know what it was. But I can't put my finger on it. But the CGI with them looked really off and looked really bad. Actually, there's another CGI scene where the lady like fades this doctor who's been doing therapy on people. She finds the door because Theo reveals it. Finds the door and touches it. And his name is like Dr. Savannah is his name. And Dr. Theo Savannah, he touches the door. And Chris door and this doctor touches the door. And she fades away. But she looks like ashes when she fades away. And it looks really out of place. Like the CGI with him and the scenes that he was in just didn't look right. I don't know what it was. But Freddy gets kidnapped and then gets taken back to the house. Well, while they're at the house, while Freddy got kidnapped, Billy went back home. He's getting, scolded by his new parents. And the kids, his brothers and sisters, his foster brothers and sisters, Darla, Mary, Pedro, and I can't think of the other kid's name. I'll figure out when the character section comes up. They are there as well, and they're watching this news scene where Freddy and Shazam are talking to each other, and Mary's like, they're talking like they know each other, talking like really good friends or family or like an old couple, and kind of find out it was Billy and Shazam. So they figured this out just by watching TV. They go confront Billy, and he's like, yeah, that's me, but I'm not really a hero. And they're like, well, here's your parents' location. This kid, the younger brother, one of the younger brothers, I can't think of his name right now. Elon? Maybe it's Elon. Let me look this up real quick. Hold on. Oh, Eugene. Eugene, he figures it out. And Eugene tells Billy like where his mother's at and what happened, and all these years she changed her name because she got divorced. So he goes find his mother, and this is like one of the scenes that looped around. Like it's one of the main reasons why Billy was doing what he was doing in this movie. Is this main goal to find his mother. He finds his mother, and she's like, yo, I actually tried to get rid of you. I found you when you got caught by the cops as a kid, and the cops took care of you. She's like, you're probably better safe than you were with me, so I left you with the cops. And Billy's like, wow. And she's like, yeah, I feel like you're doing better. She's like, you were better off without me. She's like, I was 17, single, and my dad got abandoned me. She's like, I don't know what I was doing. So the cops had you seem like you was really safe, and she like left him. And Billy's like, okay, well, I need to go back to my real family. So he goes back home, kind of find out that Freddy been kidnapped by Dr. Savannah. And then Savannah. Then Freddy gets let go. Dr. Savannah's like, all right, follow me, Billy, because I won't hurt them unless you come and give me your powers. They go to Shazam's cave, lair, where you want to call it, and they learn in this scene, because for some reason Dr. Savannah revealed all 7 deadly sins and showed them all to Shazam, and Billy's family, called Shazam family, let's call it Shazam family, they all show up. And they actually attack Dr. Savannah with a batarang. And he's like, what the heck? Okay. And then the 7 deadly sins come back into him. He heals. And then Billy distracts him for a moment. They try to escape. Anyway, where the next part is, I'm going to get into the whole climax of the movie now. they end up at a carnival, and at this carnival, Shazam is trying to fight off Dr. Savannah, and then also the 7 deadly sins. They get to the point where Shazam's like, I need to reveal, give up my power and surrender. So he decided to surrender to Savannah. Savannah's like, good choice, because I had your family. And then, of course, there's a swerve where he knocks off Savannah from the staff. So Savannah had the staff that Shazam had. And he tells his family, like, hey, get together, yell my name. They go, Billy! He's like, no, the name I've been saying. They go, Shazam! And then the Shazam family shows up. One particular member is Megan Good, who was one of my childhood crushes. She's in this movie, just as gorgeous as ever. Same cheeks, same lips, same smile. Oh my gosh, just as gorgeous. She needs to be one of the people where people are like, hey, yo, let me tell you, who's really beautiful? Megan Good. Get on it, Megan Good. Ride or die for Megan Good. Anyway, I don't know if people don't talk about her more. Like, she needs to be on people's top 10 like hot people list. Like, oh, who's your top 10 hot people? Megan Good is one of my top 10 hot people. Top 5 actually. Probably top 3. Throwing that out there. That's just me. Yes. Megan Good. Anyway, she's in this movie, so that's a little plus for me. I like that. I was like, yay! But the Shazam family works together. They defeat the 7 deadly sins. They defeat Dr. Savannah, and they are like, oh, we're all superheroes now. And at the end of the movie, there's a scene where Freddy sitting down at a table. People's like, nope, they still think he's a weird kid. He is sitting there, and then his family shows up. He's like, what are y'all guys doing here? And like, well, there's a guest gonna show up. And Billy, as Shazam, shows up in the room. And all the kids are, oh my gosh, he really does. So Freddy really does know Shazam, because he said he knew Shazam, and Billy kind of abandoned him earlier, so he got beat up at school. Well, now they kind of like repaying him, like, yeah, I know I am here. And then he's like, also got another friend. And then Superman shows up. And I really want to be Henry Cavill so much, but they don't show the top of his head. They just show the S and the pants on down. And I was like, oh, Henry Cavill could have been in this movie. You could have brought Henry Cavill in, but they didn't do it. But oh well. To me, this was a great movie. It was a fun movie to watch. It got some problems with the CGI and some character acting, but other than that, I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed it a lot. And let me get into the characters right now. Alright, so I'm going to start with number 1 here. Zachary Levi, who plays, or Levi, Zachary Levi, I said Levi, but it's L-E-V-I, Levi, who plays Shazam. I thought he did great. I remember when I first saw the character design for him, I just thought he looked odd in the suit. It just didn't seem right. Like, it looked really bulky. And then watching the movie, it doesn't really look that bad at all. It's pretty decent. So I thought he did great. Like, his acting, him being a grown man, but also, you know, being the mindset of a kid, I thought he did really well. Mark Strong as Dr. Savannah. I've seen this guy in other movies before, and I was like, who is this dude? This dude looks so familiar, and he plays the perfect villain in this movie. He's sinister, he's threatening. Thought he did great as well. Astor Angel, who played Billy Batson, great acting. I didn't have a problem with him at all. Thought he did great. He was the broody kid who just like, I don't really care about anybody else. But then when he's Shazam, he's like his most happiest moments. And then when he's himself again, he's like kind of most down moments. Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Freddie Freeman. I thought he did great. He was in It, and he did good in It. And then he was in this movie, and he did great in this movie. Like, he was annoying, he was over the top. I thought he was perfect, and then he had all the nerdy facts, stuff like that. I thought he did great. Superhero Freddy, because, you know, this for some reason IMDb call him Superhero Freddy. But Adam Brody, who plays the older version of Freddy, who is actually Captain Marvel Jr., because in the movie they all get their powers, the family all get their powers. 2 of them to me I've recognized. It's Captain Marvel Jr. and Mary Marvel. Or Mary, did she keep her name Mary Marvel, or she's Mary Shazam now? I couldn't find it. I found on online she's Mary Marvel, or still Mary Marvel, but he is known as Captain or Shazam Jr. instead of Captain Marvel Jr. But he had the same look that he did in the comic book, and I was like, okay, I'm cool with this. This is neat. Like, it's like a modern day touch on it. Jimon Hansu, who plays Shazam, who's a wizard that gave Billy his powers, and he's looking for somebody to move his powers onto. I'm not sure if it's Daedron Daimon Hunsu. He also played in Guardians of the Galaxy as the guy was like, who?
Star-Lord.
Who?
Star-Lord? Who? That's his name. That's the guy. He's in a lot of movies. I'm messing his first name up. It's DJIMON. I'm sorry, bro. I do this to at least one person. Like Ray Fiennes from Harry Potter. I kept calling him Phoenix. So you listen to all of my Harry Potter reviews. I messed his name up too. Anyway, I'm digressing. But he did great. Faith Herman, who played Darla Dooley, she was great. She was a great little like sidekick character. I thought she did good. Megan Good as Ola Darla. Yes. Yes. You got Mary Bromfield, who was played by Grace Fulton. Grace did good up to one point. There's a part in the movie where Freddie gets hit by the bullies. They hit him with a truck. And she was like, oh no, are you okay? And I was like, why she should be screaming. I have a little more feelings behind it. But other than that, so that one scene I thought she did good. And then Michelle Broth, who played Superhero Mary, she did great. Really, when they become the Marvel family, like, they're all great. They're all right. I really don't need to name them all off, but I guess I got him doing props. But Eugene Cho, who played by Ian Chin, he is the nerdy kid, like the nerdy gamer kid, who's also super smart and like intelligent. Good, he did good. The cast is great. I don't have a problem with this cast here. Who else? Ross Butler, who played Eugene as a superhero, and then Jovan Armin, who played Pedro. For the role he did, he was great. And then you had DJ Catrona, who played Pedro as you know, Shazam Pedro, great. And then you also have Marta Milians, who played Rosa Vasquez, and then Cooper Andrew, who played Victor Vasquez. They, to me, did great as well. So I didn't have a problem with them. The acting was great, the cast was great, the storyline made sense, it wrapped up, touched up, and then it also gave you an idea, like if a normal person became a superhero, this is how they would act. Like this is how they would do things. I like that. Like it's a modern day movie, so there's a lot of stuff like this movie might, in 2029, might not age as well. You know, there's music, there's the music in the movie, the jokes in the movie, it's very much of the time. It's 2019, 2020. So we'll see how this movie sounds in 2029 when it comes to some of the things that they did in this movie that probably won't age as well, but it still will be a fun movie to watch. You still understand the storyline, you still understand the characters' motivation, and like the reason why, you know, Rosa and Victor kept trying to find Billy because they know, like, hey, we've been foster kids ourselves, we don't want you to go through the same things we did, so they kept trying to go out there and trying to keep them a part of the family. And every motivation adds up. This movie, to me, is a really good movie. Just the CGI really was yeah. And this movie loves slow-mos. It loves slow-mos so much. Like, I don't understand. Like, a lot of the fight scenes had a slow motion moment. Like, for example, Megan Good had super speed. Or I guess Shazam Darla. And when she was running, they did the whole fast speed but slow motion run scene that you see in X-Men, or you seen that in Quicksilver from Captain America, but Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, that was in this movie, and you're like, okay, we use that. And then there's a scene where Shazam is running through one of the 7 deadly sins, and the sin fade out and it turns to dust, and Shazam like flowing through it, and they slow it down, him speeding through it. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of a cool touch. I didn't think, no, that's kind of neat. But then you kept seeing the slow motion happen over and over and over and over again. I was like, I guess they're trying to show they're just that fast. There is a joke that I do like in this movie where Dr. Savannah is talking to Billy as Shazam, and they're like a mile away. But in the normal movie, when the villain gives his monologue, the hero always seems to hear him from such a far distance. In this movie, Dr. Savannah's getting his monologue, and Billy is like, I can't hear you, bro. I can't hear you. There's like cars and traffic, and we're like a mile apart. Are you monologuing? I love that. That was kind of neat, kind of funny there. Alright, anything else I want to talk about this movie here? Let me look over my notes. Not really. I think I said everything I wanted to say. The whole scene of Billy finding his mother was really dark. Like, she was like, I don't want you kind of thing. Like, she was like, I just glad you're doing okay. You know, I'm glad to see you. Hope you're doing good for yourself. She was like, it's not a good time, you know. And like, she's been down and out, and she sounded like she's in an abusive relationship. And I thought for a moment maybe like, you know, Billy was gonna turn to Shazam and go in and try to save his mom, but he didn't. He was like, you know, you didn't love me from the jump kind of deal, and he left. And I was like, oh, I didn't see that coming. I didn't think the movie would do that in this movie. I didn't think they were going to actually pay off him trying to find his mother. I thought we might have to wait till another movie, but they did in this movie, which is great, which also gives him like the idea of like, okay, this foster family is my real family. They care for me more than my own mom. I'm going back to them, and this is where I belong. Yeah, I appreciate that. I like that. All right, great. This is a Friday night movie. Yes, it's a Friday night movie. Watch with your friends and family. It's a great one. Grading time. I'm grading this movie a solid B. Shazam gets a B. And the reason why, the acting to me was really good in this movie. Like, the characters didn't really have bad acting scenes besides that one scene that that Mary Marvel had. Like, it's like, but the acting was great. The storyline was really great. The storyline had a solid beginning, middle, and end, and it flowed. It was consistent. It paid off things. Like, you didn't have questions like, oh, does, you know, Freddy gets bullied by the kids at school again? Do, you know, Billy ever find his mother? Does Billy stay with the family? Like, it pays everything off. Heck, there's a scene where the family, the mom and dad, the Vasquez's leave and try to find Billy, and they don't catch him in time. And then they go back home. You kind of wonder, like, where the parents at? While the kids are gone off to, you know, the lair of Shazam, they're back home wondering where is everybody. And they even brought that back to you. Those things they didn't have to do, they did. And also there's an end credit scene where Mr. Mind shows up at Theo's prison, and he's like, yo, you guys are not smart enough. He's like, I'm a mastermind. There's other universes, let's crack into it. So now it sets up the sequel for Shazam. This is a great movie. It's a great movie. The one thing I didn't like was the CGI. The CGI literally looked like early 2012, 2011 CGI. Like, it could have been done a lot better. But when like the superhero stuff, when it was human CGI, it didn't look that bad. It looked pretty good. But when it's a monster CGI and the monsters, it looked like trash. I'm sorry. It did not look good at all. And it really took me out of the movies at certain times. But the positive though, the jokes are funny. The acting is funny. It's an action comedy. The action, the fight scenes. I love them flying around the city and they're going through different spots of the city and they're like fighting through stuff. I love that. And it wasn't like Batman, or it wasn't like Superman Man of Steel where the city's getting destroyed. It was like literally avoiding the stuff, but they're still fighting each other. I thought that was great. I enjoy this. I enjoy this movie. It's a really good movie. It's a fun movie to watch. Alright, a B it is. If you've seen the movie Shazam, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. I'm curious what your thoughts are. And thank you guys for watching this episode of Movie Breakdowns. I love y'all. See y'all next time. And keep being awesome. Thank you guys for watching this episode. I really appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe, and tell a friend about my series. Tell a friend about Grind Towards Success. Tell a friend about the Movie Breakdown series. If you really like these episodes, I really appreciate it. It means so much to me. It means so much. I can't tell you how much it means. Like it's like I'll be really grateful you just told a friend and share and subscribe to the series. And thank you guys for watching this. Also, if you want to follow my journey outside of YouTube or Facebook, you can go to my Instagram page and you can follow me on my Instagram page at Ali_Zakka. It's right here. Put it right here in my face. That way you're like, where's his face at? Well, it's right behind the Instagram logo. Yeah, but you can follow me on my Instagram page. And also, if you want another episode of Grind Towards Success or Movie Breakdowns, you can watch the episode of Grind Towards Success right here. You can watch the last episode of Movie Breakdowns right there. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. See you guys next time. Keep being awesome.